When most of us hear the word design, we think of a fancy object of some kind. We imagine something visual, expensive, that is the work of a singular artist, the designer. But if we listen closely to our everyday language, we hear about a different kind of design that is common to all of us, design that is important to our everyday lives and experience, and most importantly, design that is critical to a positive, prosperous future. When we listen carefully, we hear people use the word design to describe planning events and processes, developing solutions and agreements, creating methods and experiences. In fact, design is at the heart of the way we live and work. Design is not fancy, expensive things. Design is what makes an airplane fly and a cell phone work everywhere in the world except New York. And the lights turn on and the water come out of your tap when you turn on your faucet. Design is how we succeed. And yet we have almost no public understanding of design, no agreed upon definition. There's practically no education in design. Even in business, ostensibly the engine of our economy, where design-led companies like Google, Apple, and Pixar, and now Groupon, as well as companies like Herman Miller and Coca-Cola, have used design to dominate the creation of wealth, design still remains a dark art, a mysterious, unquantifiable practice with little or no repeatable methodology, and rarely a seat at the boardroom table. With Steve Jobs gone, who will step up to drive design at Apple capable of working at the board level? Over 25 years of design practice, I've developed a repeatable methodology of solving problems that seem unsolvable. I'm now collaborating with my wife and partner, B.C. Williams, to build the Massive Change Network, to bring that innovative method of design to as many people as possible. For us, design is creative leadership. Design is how we change things. Design is central to our future. In America and most of the world, design education, the ability to think holistically about problems as opportunities and apply a systematic critical method to create and explore solutions, doesn't begin until college. In the lower grades, we actually educate our children to stop their creativity, take their brains apart, and separate mathematics and science and art. Students learn that they are not creative, not capable of creating beauty, rather than learning the methodology of design and seeing the holistic patterns underlying the universe and all the creative and inventive practices. Einstein once said, if creativity survives formal education, it's a miracle. In my daughter's grade 6 class, she has 38 minutes for art. I don't think I need to say more about that. I mean, 38 minutes. Who could have 38 minutes for art? When she gets to college, design education will still be hopelessly old-fashioned. Design will be an isolated practice mostly not taught across the university, and creativity will be structured by visual media, as if artists who make paintings couldn't possibly be interested in digital networks or industrial products. As for the experience of education itself, here we seem to be allergic to design. In fact, if the experience is not bad, if the student isn't suffering, we suspect the quality of the product. The dominant technology of education is still the blackboard. Even at MIT, one of the greatest engines of innovation in America, when they decided to put their lectures online, the sad display consisted mostly of watching the back of a teacher's head while they scratched away at a blackboard while hundreds of students listened passively. At the same time, our technophobic higher education system is designed to exclude more than it includes. The status of almost every university in America, Arizona State under Michael Crow is a notable exception that proves the rule, is correlated not to its scale, reach, or impact to what it accomplishes, but to who and how many it excludes. By driving access down and prices up, we've created a model of higher education that is accessible to a smaller and richer population in a time where knowledge is the key to health, wealth, and opportunity. You know, I've been working for some time with Michael Crow, and when we presented our work to the board of directors for the university, He went before me and he asked the question, what's the single best predictor of SAT scores in America? Was the answer IQ or family status? The answer was zip code. That zip code predicts your SAT score better than any other factor, and that's because it translates into wealth, and that translates into race. And Michael said, that's not an America that I'm willing to accept. And when he said that, I yelled out in front of the board, Michael Crow for president, and anywhere he wants to go, I want to go with him. In fact, globally, this model of exclusive higher education is now reaching less than 1% of the world. So in all of our work, in all these extraordinary developments that you've seen, we've done all this by educating less than 1% of the world beyond high school. When we discovered this, it just about knocked me over. I had to go and look, I had to go do the research behind it to say, that can't be the right number. But that is the right number. Less than 1% of the world has had access to what we take for granted. Strangely, for the most part, business culture is not a design culture. In America, business is a culture of control, contracts, accounting, cubicles, efficiency, and the mitigation of risk. Business is a legalistic administrative culture, not surprisingly, since it is produced by legalistic administrative people with MBAs, Masters of Business Administration. They are precisely that, administrative. In the industrial era, administration was paramount. Companies innovated once and then faced the challenge of repeating their way to scale, an administrative challenge. MBAs, unable to create but great at counting, were the perfect fit to sell more things to more people more often for more money. All regardless of the external costs, the real cost and impact on the ecology and society that sustains us, a gross deficit in holistic thinking. Design, on the other hand, is a culture of ideas, creativity, holistic thinking, invention, and leadership. In fact, design is leadership. Imagining a vision as a desired outcome and systematically working to realize that vision. Design is a disruptive force, creating entirely new products, services, networks, and ways of thinking and doing things. When design thinking began to be developed and applied as a business method, the old-fashioned MBA business thinking was caught flat-footed. Entirely new competitors emerged where before there were none. Apple, ostensibly a computer company, took down the archaic recording industry and designed a new economy of music and entertainment. Samsung, a parts supplier for Sony, embraced and applied design and in less than a decade usurped its client to become a leading global technology brand. Pixar combined the design capacities of Hollywood and Silicon Valley to reinvent animation and produce 10 consecutive #1 hits. The idea of a stable context and the strategy of innovating once, and scaling is over. Every business is now a design business. Design thinking, using the analytical methods of design to understand a problem as an opportunity and creatively iterating multiple disruptive solutions, is the future of business. If you don't have a design business, you may not have a business at all. It's no wonder that less than 2% of students graduating from America's business schools with MBAs start new businesses. Less than 2%. The graduates are designed to fit snugly into the old line businesses that still dominate. They know little about design and innovation. That may explain why it takes, on average, 16 years to recover the investment in an MBA, and why so many business schools are the poorest financial performers on campus. When it comes to design in government, it is practically non-existent. Most governments in America and around the world are using systems and structures that are hundreds of years old, while the market races ahead, voluptuously inventing new products, services, capacities, connectivity, and ways of gaming the regulatory systems at higher and higher speeds. Our design of regulation is critically outmoded. In governance, the deficit in designing regulation is the tip of the iceberg. If design is leadership, envisioning a better future, and systematically working towards realizing that vision, we are running a massive design deficit. So much of our vision of the future is defined by fear in the rearview mirror, looking back to a time that didn't exist rather than forward to what we could become. To change that will require the greatest design effort in American history. We must overcome the images of fear and division that dominate the media landscape and develop new ways of collectively designing our future. If we're ever to accomplish a positive future that is different from our past, we'll need design methodology to reinforce stability so that we can embrace innovation. Design has the potential to make change understandable and directed rather than random and frightening. It's in this context of extraordinary challenges, in the hopes of advancing human society and contributing to solving the challenges we have outlined here, that my wife, B.C. Williams, and I have developed the Massive Change Network. It's a global educational initiative to bring the methods and power of design to the greatest number of people possible to apply their capacity to improving the design of education, business, and government. On the 25th and 26th of November, we'll launch the first Massive Change Network Global Design Workshop. A small group of entrepreneurial design thinkers will gather at the State Library of Queensland in Brisbane, Australia, to learn the methodology of the Massive Change Network and apply that method to the future of Brisbane. We'll share an immersive experience of the 24 key ideas we'll need to engage in designing your business or enterprise, your government or institution, and ultimately your life. We'll work in what we call Renaissance teams, small groups of diverse talent, to sketch and iterate solutions to the great challenges we face in energy, water, building, and movement. In the process, these people will make the 24 Hours to Massive Change methodology their own. We know this is just the beginning. It's our way of starting on the journey of reaching the other 99%. Thank you.